frozen and still better leave. I'ma swap it for time and that's take it for me. More Jedi-based in 2 days, I'm on 3, I'm gone. I don't mean no Patron, cappuccino to tone. I don't mean a song, stack it up, stack it up.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to the pit. I'm Circa. With me, as always, is Jew.bacca. How's it going today, Jew.bacca?
Oh, I've had better days, but managed to lock in some gains, so
Very nice.
it's
Yeah,
all
we'll
good.
get into that. And then we got one of our favorites back in the pit, the original Pidian, Jedi. What's up, man?
Hey guys, it's good to be back. Thank you for inviting me back.
Dude,
Clearly the bribery on that anonymous wallet that you sent me worked. So it's good to be back, boys.
Yeah, we just gave you a bunch of Rollbit tokens to come back on. And then RT, our fave, is running late. He is busy selling everything. So it's going to take him a little while. He's deeply long, so we'll forgive him for that. And he'll be joining us in just a little bit. But what do you say, guys? Let's kick it off. Let's start talking shit in the pit, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, very cool. You want to switch us over here to a screen share while we begin a little market overview and get everyone's sentiment. Is it overs? I think that's kind of the main subject here. Of course, as I always do, I got Agar on the 1M, but I think more appropriate right now might be the 4-hour. Take a look at. Oh,
Oof.
All right. Very cool. So, Jew.bacca, how you feeling, dude?
Yeah, like I said before, I was preparing pretty much like everyone else was for at least like another week or so of ETH season / alt season. As it stands right now, it looks like that was probably just the weakest alt season ever. I did buy back some of my bags just, in case equities kind of clears this giga resistance. I think that's the copium right now is if equities manages to
Pull that up.
break this resistance level, then crypto's back on.
Yeah,
So
4157 has been rather important on SPX, and
yeah,
it's dancing with it for sure.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm allocating some of my portfolio for that type of move, and if we don't see that, if we get rejected, then I'm out and it's over for a while. And I'm looking at like farming strategies for the bear market, pretty much.
Word. How about you, Jedi? How you feeling?
Well, I made the fatal mistake of actually listening to my good friends who were very bullish. No, it was a good thing that I did because there was some really good trades that culminated over the last 2 weeks, particularly. Arbitrum was really kind to me. I think also a couple of the guys in the pit really did well with Arbitrum.
Yeah.
But it's not really a surprise in terms of what's going on at the moment, in terms of a very simple thesis that's been present for a while, and that is that, this is a bear market rally. It's nice to kind of forget that for a while, but let's be reminded that this market is pretty messed up at the moment, and we've just got to be mindful of that and ride it appropriately. So I'm just kind of back into bearish mode. I mean, I wish I wasn't, because I really don't like bearish mode, but that's where I'm at the moment. Not really doing much trading, just too busy, so thankfully.
Yeah, you've been very busy on the media side of crypto, and put out a lot of amazing content with Blockmates, and in a way, I think it definitely is a good reason to not overtrade.
Yeah,
so that's fortunate.
And you, what's your feeling? Where you at the moment? I know that you are very good at kind of like watching the temperature of the market. I mean, you're on this thing all the time, and it's been really cool to see kind of like where we were as kind of like traders a year ago and where we are now. It's actually quite remarkable, like the level of attention that's being paid to the market. So it's really been cool to see your development and kind of like your opinion on the market. So where you at?
Well, yeah,
around
I would
that?
definitely agree that like since you and I met, we
Yeah,
both changed dramatically.
we
It's a
have.
big diff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say like I'm pissed at myself that I became like basically this whole time I've been watching for signs of this whole time. And I let myself get bullish for a potential alt season here,
Mm.
you know, and missed out on shorting this, which like I was able to short 25.2 back here. And that was really good to me. I was able to long here, and that was really good to me. So looking for those key pivots has been like my main strategy for this bear market rally, if it is that, which I think it kind of is. And I missed this. I missed this. I missed INJ at $10, which I wanted really, really bad.
And
So
what
yeah.
were you looking for up there? What would you have looked for?
So this SFP right here, where we went up to, what was it, 31.50, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like my bread and butter. It happened over here the night that it went to 29.1. And that's what I'd be looking for. I'd just be looking because we're in a range here. And when we deviate the range, it's a great opportunity to, get a premium short or long. Either direction we deviate, it's great. And so if we zoom down to like 5 minute and we look at that level up here, I literally probably would have found my entry on the 1M with some divergences up here, or just been able to grab somewhere here once it failed to actually clear back above. But those are the kinds of things I'm usually looking for. It's like middle of the night, crazy spot buying up into outside of the range and then closing back below. The safest way for me to have played it would have just been closing back below this line. So those are the kinds of things I normally look for when I'm bearishly postured sentiment wise against like an otherwise impressive rally. And then we also got a nice complacency shoulder here that
Yeah.
I could have taken.
That
But I
was,
just wasn't.
I think that was the big clue around that. Definitely.
100%. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I just wasn't looking for it like I should have been because I was more focused on alts. Not to say that we didn't do great with alts. Bonk was
Just
like my
you guys were completely psycho in the pit. Good lord.
Yeah, man. Like I caught Bonk coming up for this resistance here, and I was able to like get in around here, and I was just laughing up here.
Did you think it was going to carry on going up? What was this? What
Yeah,
was your
my
feeling?
target
Yeah. Okay.
was here.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that would have been insane, man.
Yeah, would have been
Yeah,
nuts.
I mean, what did Bonk make a 2x from the lows? About?
Oh my god, probably more, right?
More.
The lows were like 6 zeros and then 3.8.
Okay.
And the highs
so
were
it's
6 or 5 zeros and then 10. So more than
Yeah.
a 3x. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another clue was also that there wasn't much momentum to the upside. I mean, there was obviously upside, but the momentum wasn't anywhere near the kind of momentum that would have
On Bonk or on BTC?
Just in general. I think Arbitrum was also another really good performer, but it didn't really do more than 55% from those lows. That consolidation, and then up till the 1.8. I think it hit 1.8 at the high, and that was it.
1.85, something like that.
Yeah. It's also, like when the whole market is saying $2, you just know it's less.
Yeah.
That's kind of what was in the back of my mind, and I just didn't act on any of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, that Hsaka tweet has got to be a prop.
Yeah, you were right. Hsaka has the tendency to either signal the beginning of a massive rally or the end of a massive rally. In this case, it was the
How does he do that shit, dude? Like, seriously, how does that guy do that shit? Like, with consistency and with such absolute perfection. It's like, the bend
Yeah,
it like
I mean,
Beckham moment, you know.
he
Like
has
every time.
misses. There was the whole phone
Yeah.
rally.
Yeah.
What was it? Phantom. I forget what the O was, and then like near was the Phantom something Aurora, and then near.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like the end of the bull market. It was like when we were going down the last cycle. But yeah, another warning sign is like biggest momentum was the drive up to 21, and then momentum's been fading ever since. And probably the most impressive is that we didn't make new highs on RSI going up to 29 or 31. That's,
So would you take that and put that into your little black book as a reference point for future moves like this? Is it something that you can go back to and say, okay, well, I've seen this before? I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, yes, but are we going to get kind of like a repeat of this down the line in terms of what macro looks like? And or do you
I
think,
think you could definitely, the thing is if you're looking for these kinds of signals after, like, let's say we crash all the way back down to 19.9 or even low, like let's say we revisit the lows and then we go back up and you're looking for those kinds of things, I think you're just asking to get wrecked, because at that point we're in full bull and all the people who were
that's what I was
for,
gonna say.
like, so
You
but
don't want to hang on to these habits in a year from now, probably.
yeah, one thing I'm never going to forget is I didn't know about range trading and deviations during the last bull.
Yeah.
And when I look back at let me go to the weekly. This
Yeah.
like, I think about it all the time. Right here, dude. Like, if only I had known. This is the premium opportunity right here. So as soon as it closes back inside, that's where range traders are looking to short, and they caught the short of the century. You know what I mean? And so that's the type of stuff I'll be looking for. I definitely will not be expecting BTC to blow off top next cycle. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't last cycle, so
Yeah,
why would it?
that's how.
Why would it ever again?
Why would it ever again? Law of diminishing returns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the people want Pepe. They don't want BTC anymore.
they want to know about Pepe, dude. Holy hell.
So that's probably one of the most ridiculous trades in the last 3 years, man. Like, I think the only thing that can compare is probably SHIB. Seriously.
SHIB took time.
But SHIB took time.
SHIB had a test pump off a launch, and then it took like what, a year or like months, like maybe less, like 4 months, right?
And what did Pepe top out at? Was it 152?
I think it was 150 mil market cap.
Was it? Is that?
Yeah.
So the question here is, can we say that this thing has enough momentum right now to actually have a proper blow off top, or is it just going to land up sinking back down again?
BTC?
No, dude. Pepe? Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't
think it's over.
I think like the insane volume, all the like the sexes that that launched this token for trading. That's a top in my opinion. But it might not go to zero, given that there's a lot of a lot of market makers in it now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm wearing the shirt that describes my opinions on this coin. This is Charles Ponzi.
Charles Ponzi. That's by far probably the most apt t-shirt to be wearing at this point in time.
Who has the alpha on Remilio and Milady's being behind this coin in some way? I don't know anything about it. I just heard that.
Yeah, I don't either. I think JC Denton in the pit probably is our resident Milady expert. We'll have to get him on.
Yeah. Reformed just asked for my Agra template, and it's his template. So if you're watching Reformed, this is yours. You gave it to me. Yeah, so I've heard that like the Miladies, which we all know, like Miladies have sort of taken the spotlight that once was held by Basie and CryptoPunks. being a CT favorite. It's a flex NFT to have. And shout outs to Yamjeet for having gone all in Miladies at the bottom. A brilliant move. But now it's like they're spinning off apparently these meme tokens. I think Pepe, Wojak, and Aped are all Remilio Corporation, which is behind Miladies. At least that's what I've heard. I don't know what the basis for that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, a couple of them might be true, and then, every project is posting a Milady PFP on their Twitter and then claiming that this is the next one.
Yeah, JC just said it was like first talked about in the Milady Discord, and that's why it went wild. So maybe it's just the community, the Miladies community pumped it up, but they weren't behind it. Who knows?
Yeah. So basically, we need to get at least a couple Miladies for next cycle, and
do you need them to join the Discord?
probably. I don't even know.
Yeah. Oh, they did trad too. Yeah, so this was what? It was yeah, that's a lot of zeros, friend.
So this thing went to 140 mil early on. I think it was at 140 mil. I think maybe it will chill now and we'll get like maybe a big slump, but I don't think this thing is over by any stretch of the imagination. I think this thing will be here with us the same way that SHIB is here and Floki and all of those kind of meme coins. I think this thing has earned its place and it won't go away, which is great, I think, in many ways.
How many people probably thought it was over here?
Absolutely.
Totally. They must be so mad right now.
Yeah. Why you leave a moon bag in these shit coins?
That's true. Yeah. Wow.
While we're on the topic of shit coins, I actually have like two that I'm not saying buy now, but I think they will be winners for next cycle.
Jew.bacca's looking for exit liquidity. Let's go. What do you?
I actually don't even own one.
Okay.
The first one is IC, so I own this.
I've heard the shitcoin folks talking a lot about this one.
Yeah. So the alpha here that is not 100% confirmed, but like I'm 99% sure on, is that the Pirate Bay team is behind this.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting. And then also I think BitBoy is behind it too. And I know that he hates SHIB. He hates the founder. He outed the founder, and there's like this whole thing about that. And so I'm pretty sure that this is like a coin he's kind of silently involved on, that he wants to turn into a SHIB competitor for next cycle.
This was savage, by the way.
Yeah. So what happened there is that there were rumors that this token was like had connections with like the internal ICP team. And it turns out, the ICP team was like, okay, this is not us. And so
wait, ICP? Oh, yeah, internet computer.
Yep. Internet computer. No, I mean, that would actually be even more bullish, but
that would be way more bullish.
No, so that rumor was dispelled, and people that were speculating on that, instantly nuked. And then something that Hxro pointed out, this is like a Hxro coin who is, a shitcoin connoisseur in the pit, pointed out that on that dip, he was noticing like Binance, a lot of money was flowing from Binance into completely new wallets to buy that dip, to make it look like it's like a fair distribution, where it was probably just like a couple whales, just really smartly buying the dip to make it seem like there are unique holders. And so I think that kind of activity, makes also, combined with the other clues, makes this kind of a
just something that's like super important around these shit coins, which it's so obvious, but Hxro was actually saying like it was actually quite late at night for him. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 a.m. West Coast. and he was like, I asked him about some shit coins, and like I think he was talking about Wojak maybe, or one of those, and he was like,
Mhm.
dude, if you don't see whales coming into one of these shit coins, it's not going to do anything.
He's
You
huge on
want to
that.
see, yeah, and he's so right. I mean, I'd never thought of that. I mean, it's so bloody obvious, and it's like, if you see the big boys coming in, then you know this thing's going to run.
Yeah, there's a
And
few primary skills involved in spotting shit coins that don't have
yeah,
any overlap with any other part of making it in crypto. And one of
correct.
them is just like how to know it's not a rug / is legit. And then the other is how to track like key shitcoin or wallets.
Mhm.
And just know, where those whales are getting in because yeah, like if they're not, he's right. Like it's not going to go anywhere because it's people who track their wallets who follow them and come in and pump the
Yeah,
price and
Totally.
correct.
then they tweet about it. Yeah.
Are we gonna talk? Are we gonna talk about the sandwich Subway man, Jared's?
Jared
I
from
mean,
Jared
Subway, dude. What an ill-fated
single-handedly
name.
pumping
single
ETH-BTC.
dude, single-handedly, $1.4 million worth
In
of
sandwich
gas.
attacks over the last.
No, dude, just the gas. Go and look at the June dashboard that indicates the top gas burners on
Oh.
ETH, and he is number one at one. He was like 6 hours ago at $1.4 million.
MEV bot, is it this one?
MEV bot, bro.
Wow, dude. It's 1.25 in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. There's a lot more when the volume was coming through, obviously 6
Do
hours
we think
ago.
this is a guy or a group?
Who cares? His name's Jared. They named Jared, and it's Sandwich Subway, and it's a good advertisement for Jared and for Subway Submarines.
Yeah, when fee token.
I mean,
Right.
can you imagine who's going to come up with a token for that? But I mean, this thing is insane. I mean, the amount of money that's gone in, and I think the majority of the trading volumes, probably in light of the gas costs, has come from this bot.
Yeah.
And like big buys as well, like between $50,000 and $35,000, $40,000 buys and sells. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of insane like large ETH buys that people like dormant wallets were just chucking into Pepe and getting completely obliterated by Jared. You
It's
know, like
there's
Totally,
something
dude.
fishy about it all, right? Like there was
yeah,
a couple
So-
wallets that were throwing like 50K buys and then
Yeah.
immediate sells into Pepe.
But hold on a second. You know what's interesting about this thing is that this thing was coded on UniV2, which allows for this kind of thing to happen. Why not do it on Uniswap v3? It's a lot more. I don't think it's actually possible to do it to the extent that you can do this MEV bot on v3 versus v2. Why use v2, bro? Is that
Yeah.
like grounds for a great conspiracy theory around let's farm
Look.
this aspect as well? I mean,
This has got to be him, right? 38,350 in,
That's him.
38,649 out.
He's probably using other wallets as well, but there's the one wallet that's distinctive. It's got an F in it. I was watching the price action on this thing last night because you know me, I love the price action, and he was just smashing it, man. Like just every fifth 5 to 10 trades is in there and out. 5 to 10 trades is in there and out every time.
Yeah, wild, dude.
So
since we're on this subject of shit coins, I think we need to update on our friend. Damn it,
oh
dude.
man,
God damn it.
wow,
Poor
literal
Sway,
zero.
dude.
What does the
round trip
peak market cap on this?
100x.
Yeah,
Really?
Suede got in like here-ish or something,
Yeah,
and he was at 100x or more up here.
I think it was a couple mil.
Yeah. No, it never did it.
I think it hit 2 maybe.
What? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude.
Did Swade make some out of this? Because he's
No,
been.
I don't think so. I think he just kept
refused
buying
to
on the way
take
down.
profits. I had a hour-long conversation with him, telling him like,
Yeah.
dude,
He's terrible at that, dude. Like he's the
never
king of
takes
finding
profit.
them, and then he's just the king at holding on.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he just loves going down with that cement block when they throw him over the bridge into the river. I don't understand it.
Yeah, dude. But fortunately, hopefully, this now gives us clearance to Tell
Oh,
him
yeah.
exactly when to sell.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to hear the end of it, but
Yeah, because someone made fun of me because I told him to sell this at a 10x, and I was like, dude, he would have made more selling it at a 10x than he's gonna make now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Does Ansem know that he is the counter indicator?
I don't
He
think so,
must.
but he blocked me, dude.
Oh, he did? Oh,
Did he
no.
I just
really?
because
He's such a G though, dude. He's such a cool guy.
dude,
I mean, I've met
don't
him.
get
Seems
it
like a nice
twisted.
guy.
I
Yeah.
think Ansem is
Such a
cool.
gem of a human, man.
I
like,
think he's
seriously.
cool, and I think his research reports are sick. But yeah, he tweeted 2 words, bonk swap, right on this candle. And then when we were down here, I just retweeted like, dude, why? Why did you do this? We
Yeah.
were so primed. And then
Yeah.
and then this one's a beaut, dude. I mean, this is aged like a fine wine.
Yep. Can't argue with that.
It's tough, dude.
That's
It's
a
tough.
tough one.
And I asked him why on this, and that's when he blocked me. But it's like, dude, I'm just letting you know that you're the bad luck guy right now. You're not you in Q3 of 2021. You were the good
You
luck
were the
guy.
king. He
Yeah.
was the king. Yeah.
I
He
mean,
was the king.
like none of this is going to hold up, during 80% of the next bull rally.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
No,
It's like-
no amount of whoever is the bad luck guy at that point tweeting will stop the
Yeah.
bull rally.
Yeah. Even
Um,
Link.
Even Link, dude. How do we? Oh my God, let's pull
See,
up Link.
so this is another one of those signs, and someone actually did say it in the Blockmates Discord and said, "Guys, if this thing starts doing its thing, be careful." And no one listened.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, dude. What? How much consolidation is this since November? Right? Since November.
It's insane.
And
I actually think Link is poised to do pretty well next bull, given
right, it's
the
got some
tokenomic
fundamental changes
Yeah.
here, right?
I think
They're
the
turning on
team-
fees.
Turning on fees, team I think is out of tokens to sell.
Sellers.
I was
ran
going to
out of
say, are
tokens.
they out of tokens yet? Because
I think they are.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
they have been the biggest problem. Let's face it, guys. They have been
Yeah.
the biggest problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I
We all
mean,
know
with
that.
Matic, it's the same thing. Sandeep
Mm.
does not let this thing get very far above $1 before they just start taking
Unloading.
profits, getting some runway.
I mean, they burn a lot of cash with those partnerships. So
Yeah. And then Dragonfly Cap does this to Lido. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of lines. Was I scalping
So
this
what
thing?
is your thesis thoughts around LSDs and where we are at the moment with obviously with Shanghai and the next 6 to 12, 24 months? You can go first, Circa.
On LSDs and
Yeah.
how I expect them to interact with Shanghai?
Just in light of Shanghai and obviously the unlocks, do you think that those unlocks were bullish for LSDs and repurposing or reallocating, staked ETH into kind of like LSD players for even the medium to long term?
I think in a full bull, it makes no sense not to use liquid staking derivatives to
Gotcha.
get your stake.
Yeah.
Just because you need that capital available for other stuff.
Mm.
In a full bull, that's like way more the case than any other time. And so, yeah, I think it's bullish for LSDs, but also I think that like price
staked
action.
ETH as basically the same thing.
What do you mean?
Like when you stake ETH, like can't you use staked ETH? Like won't places start accepting staked
No,
ETH?
you can't. You can't repurpose. It's my understanding is, and I don't know if anyone can correct us either in the pit or in chat, but my understanding is that it's kind of like when you stake ETH for your 32 ETH, it can't be used for anything else.
When you're in a node, but if you're using an
Yeah.
LSD, yeah, you can take that staked ETH and
Yes,
use it in
you
DeFi.
can. Yeah, sorry, I
And,
misunderstood. Yes,
And you can take loans out against it because it's wrapped.
Absolutely.
So
correct.
yeah, it rebases essentially internally.
Mhm.
So when you turn it back in, you're getting more ETH out, or it's worth more ETH over time.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that staked ETH was going to be like basically be used in that way, like moving forward. You know.
I can't say anything useful about like my expectations for performance of LSDs next cycle. Clearly, anything that had an LSD narrative did well, and we got confirmation of that when YFI announced their LSD and YFI started performing all of a sudden. FXS, Lido, although like Ripple never really did a whole lot compared to Lido. But just to say that like I can't come up here and say they're going to do the best next cycle. They're going to be the highest beta because I don't know that. Lido certainly wasn't after January. And I can't say that they're ETH beta because Lido performed best during January, not when ETH finally did its thing for a day or two. Lido certainly dramatically cucked during that time. Just wasn't really doing much. Anyone who took Lido as their pick for this 2-day alt season, they underperformed. So I don't know. I don't think like it's hard to tell because we're not narrative heavy right now. And I know in a full bull, like narratives go buck wild, but I just don't see a reason to treat LSDs any particular way outside of price action and just monitoring the beta. That's my view on it. As investment vehicles, I think they're really cool for unlocking the capital efficiency of your ETH. I don't know. What do you think, Jedi?
I don't really think it matters what I think. I think what matters is that you have a narrative. And the narrative is very much in line with, it's probably been the most consistent and it continues to capture the whale attention. And I think that in itself is the most important aspect of the whole thing. What do I think? I think any derivation of value that is captured, where you're capturing liquidity and then you're allowing it to be repurposed, is the way to go. It's like, especially in the state of the market right now, if you can get people to kind of like slow the fuck down and actually like allocate that money and that liquidity, that's a win. And LSDs have managed to do that probably more efficiently than anything else in the market right now, because it's just been pure PvP, whereas LSDs have said, hold on a second, guys, there's actually value here. Yeah. Stick around. Let's repurpose. Let's reimagine how we can actually do this. So I like it from that perspective, and that's the reason why the narrative is what it is. So I like it. I hope it continues, and I hope there are derivations of it that continue to kind of like get creative around how we look at, staking, and more importantly, how do we move liquidity around, not only in the Ethereum blockchain, but on other blockchains as well. And I see someone actually made a comment in chat where Avalanche are doing it as well. They've actually just, VAR BZ was saying that apparently Avalanche are looking at doing the same thing in terms of rolling out LSDs to make subnets deployment
isn't
50% cheaper.
Ben QI, isn't that a LSD for AVAX?
Correct. I think it is. It had a great run the last bull, didn't it? I mean,
yeah.
But no one really like understood what the real purpose of LSDs were, and I don't think a lot of people do at the moment. I mean, we've written
they didn't
some
have
pretty
a day in the sun back then.
Imagine a bull market with LSDs, bro. I mean, Ethereum would be at 15 grand now. I promise you, it'd be ridiculous.
It's a good point you've made that like it's been PvP, and so it's hard to really gauge like what's the effect of these narratives in this environment. But one thing that this last rally has taught me is that like I have no idea. I can't look at the narrative landscape and determine what's going to top this chart. You know what I mean? Like CFX outperformed everything for the longest time. INJ had like insane outperformance. Blur, these tokens share nothing in common with each other. You know what I mean? And they're not part of the things that everyone's talking about. And so I don't know, like I think that,
and INJ is an old one too. So
Yeah, dude, it's not new.
It's not even new. Yeah.
It's not new. And so it's just like, I don't know if that will be the case in the bull, because we do get narrative sector breakouts in the bull, but I think I wasn't paying attention to whether I was in the fastest horse in the bull. I didn't know anything. It was
Yeah.
my second bull market, and I just didn't know anything. But now, like, looking at it, I'd be very surprised if these sector breakouts that we got in the bull weren't just underperformance masking itself as like bullishness. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm a little bit more skeptical of narratives going into this bull than I was last one. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jew.bacca, do you think that you need to be aware of narratives in the bull, or does it matter?
Well, I mean, I think that's what people tie to price, to outperformance. So, whether you just look at the chart or whether you notice a consistent narrative, I think it'll be easier to spot in the bull because you'll have more articles, you'll have normies talking about certain things, and so yeah, I mean, I think the outperformers on this rally are, there might not be a consistent narrative between them, but I think there will be narratives around all of the outperformers of this rally. I think there'll be outperformers of the next rally as well.
Yeah.
So I have a thought, and maybe it could be a question as well, is that obviously the key ingredient to any market is to obviously find what is going to outperform, as you so eloquently stated, around CFX and INJ. How do you think that changes, and how do we prepare for maximum efficiency in a bull market? Is it around a narrative? Is it around identifying like a really good product that really just, I mean, we saw that in the last market, in the last bull, where there were just certain products or certain protocols that just really like tweaked things at the right time and at the right place. Avalanche being one. There were a couple of them. I mean, is there something that we could potentially prepare for prior to the bull, or is it kind of like we just have to wait and see and be ready?
Well,
I mean,
Jew.bacca's talked a lot about farming in the bear.
yeah, I think we kind of talked a little bit about that last time. I think that's an easy way to to kind of be aware of things that are going on. Like, I think we've discovered that optimism and arbitrum are have outperformed during this rally. So I think looking to farm new protocols during the bear market of of the rest of this year, on both optimism and arbitrum are going to will yield great results. I think really keeping your head to the ground on new protocol launches from both of those ecosystems over the next next 12 months is going to yield great results. Like time, we're gonna get our time on either arbitrum, optimism. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah, but it would be interesting to see time and spell on this chart. I wonder.
I mean, ice, dude. I mean, ice did a 20x off the
Yeah.
bottom. I mean, ice was like huge in the pit. It was huge for a lot of people. Obviously, a lot of guys and girls caught it really late and got wrecked. But a lot of us got in really early, like from $1 to $7, and went to 45. And there we were sitting thinking it was going to go to $300. But the point is that that was the darling. And now this run, this very short rally, it managed to do a 20x.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go bring up that chart and prepare to be shocked. Oh, dude, the golden dude. Did you guys see the exchange between Squirrel and Danny on Twitter?
No.
That was probably one of the most beautiful moments I've seen in crypto Twitter in my entire life. You've got to go to Squirrel's feed. Oh, dude, you got to go to Twitter immediately now. Go now.
Was this recently or?
Yeah, dude, it was like in the last 2 days. It's a beautiful thing. You've got to go and see it. So yeah, ice is 20x off the bottom.
What?
20x off the bottom was us at the top,
Yeah.
from bottom to top,
Wild.
from April the
Freaking
10th.
Wild. Yeah. I hope we get another Danny season, dude. That'd be sick.
So what he's done is that he's forked Uniswap, and he's in the process of doing a whole lot of stuff. He's got something on the cook, bro. So I won't be surprised if we see another one, but he'll also have a lot of hate going into that. There's a lot of people that don't like.
When
Danny.
did Squirrel and Danny talk on Twitter?
I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. Just go to Squirrel's profile and you'll see it. Just scroll down.
Fork without a strategy is basically useless.
Yes, just open that thread, open that conversation. And then Danny says, if you know you could, yeah, scroll up. That's not the right one.
Oh,
go back up. Yeah. Fork without a strategy is basically useless, Danny says. And then Squirrel says also these strategies the Dexes are building are useless. What you're building with WAGMI is retarded as well.
wow. I thought you meant it was a touching moment.
Yeah.
No, dude, it was proper. It was proper. Like, I see you, and I think you're a complete, and that's what happened in that moment.
So Squirrel was a dev for Abra?
Yes,
right?
Abra, dude, for Abra.
Oh,
Abra.
Abra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abra.
I mean,
I think it was
speak
Abra.
on that, like, I think that LP strategies are useless.
They are,
because it's like the money in a full bull, except for like Gigaspurgs who are able to tweak out UniV3 on the day of launch for like ENS, that kind of thing, or R.
Yeah.
If you can do that, great. But like LP strategies are just like a way to underperform. I don't know.
It also depends where you're at. Like, if you are sitting with a fat chunk of chains and you want to mitigate risk and the rest of it, it's not a bad strategy. But if you want to maximize, once again, coming back to the questions that we ask, how do I go about outperforming? How do I go about maximizing the potential that I have? Then it's a different discussion. Then we're sitting at a different table. But if you're a fat whale sitting with 50, 60, 100 million, like, why not? Why go and subject yourself to a whole lot of risk when you can divvy it up in 20 protocols, LP, and farm like a boss? I mean, that's what I would do.
Matic. So we're looking at Sol was 190x, FTM was 170x, VRA 136, Matic 101. And it seemed like I know Roosh was JC just said we were in the fastest horses in the end of 2021. I think Forks in DeFi Kingdoms. Yeah. The one thing that this chart won't show you is when we get our alt seasons and BTCs on the downswing and there's yield. Because on DeFi Kingdoms, you got like a 22x maybe if you got in at $1, but you were printing 1,000%, 4,000% APRs in that token. So that kind of changes the dynamics. But I think Alt Getty is the key to outperformance this next cycle. It's monitoring what breaks out and stays out, but also having the conviction to get in something like an ARB at like a depressing valuation of like 50 cents and then just buying as much as you're willing to hold and then not touching it until it's like, ridiculous valuation. Same with OP. I think like that's because what did best last cycle? L1s. These are all L1s except for Veracity. And I think L2s are going to do as well next cycle. And if that's the case, then it's just about stuffing a bag full of that stuff and just like because like Matic, dude, like there's a video of RT doing the pump chaser zone tutorial.
Yes,
and he's using Matic and it's like 0.00000.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what if you just bought a big bag of Matic and just didn't sell? That was the key to outperformance. So that's what I'm looking for, is like opportunities to just hold things that are going to outperform. And then when I'm trading, use Alt Getty.
So there's been quite a few launches that have yielded some bum results in terms of the short term, like Camelot launches. There's been a couple where, I mean, one of them that we actually working with that project is Unstoppable. So they're actually a community-owned DEX. They're super cool. No one actually sees them for who they are, but there will come an opportunity where they'll realize that it's not just a DEX. These guys they actually want to hand this thing over to a community and say, you can earn, like, essentially it's a GMX with its own flavor, but it's not a fork. It's like they're building this thing from the ground up. Had a great launch. They weren't greedy. They put together their own MISO contracts. You know, the redacted cartel.
Yeah.
Dutch auction. They did the same thing, and the thing's trading under entry price. I think entry price was 0.02. I think it's trading like 30% less. I mean, it's definitely like trading a lot better than, you know, a lot of these other launches that have happened. But they're full steam ahead, dude. Watch. That is one project that I believe will do really well, like in the long term, because they've got their priorities straight. They know exactly what they want to do, and they're very clear about it, and they're already shipping. I mean, they're a month in and they've already shipped stuff, and they're just kicking it. So those are the kind of projects I'm looking for. That's just one. I think there's many others. And, you know, that's where I would like to allocate, and small amounts. You don't have to go and put a huge amount of money in there. I think you could do really well. If you do 1,000x on like $1,000, do the maths, guys. You know, like, you don't have to go like
yeah, we talked about this last time, but it's like, I think it's the extremes, right? Like, either be super early to something and diamond hand it, or don't fade something that already pumped.
Correct.
That's it. That's all you have to do. But diddling in the middle there is how you underperform, I think. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at this chart, monitoring what breaks out from the pack, keeping things, like, keep adding things to it that I hear about, and make sure I'm always looking for entries on the stuff that's just outperforming. And then, like, scouting those opportunities where things are launching, things are new, things are very cheaply valued.
Jedi, are you familiar with Kronos?
Kronos Fi, is that Kronos Finance as a project, as a protocol?
Yeah. So it's like a Solidity fork on
Yeah. So I actually did speak to them.
It's not out yet, Circa.
It's not out there, and they're busy at the moment.
I'll pull up that link.
You should pull up that tokenomics link, because I think there's two things that stood out to me about Kronos. Is number one, they've partnered with a million projects, and so one part of their initial distribution is they partnered with, let's say, Equal on FTM, and they did a deal with Equal where if you lock up like a very small amount of Equal, I think it was maybe $200 to $300 worth, and you do the max lockup in Equal, you get a certain amount of VECH airdropped Kronos tokens. And so they did that with a bunch of different protocols, which I think is really interesting. There was no token presale. The only presale was an NFT sale that gets you, locked tokens and then also a share of the protocol fees. So they're going to launch this thing at the end of the month, and no one has been able to get any tokens.
So I spoke to one of the devs at Mayadar, and I asked him what his thoughts were. I mean, obviously they are a direct competitor from the VE model. So, there's a couple of interesting discussions that can be had here. Is like, what is the future of the VE model? Like, is it something that is going to once again outperform, like, from a return basis, yield basis over a period of time? That's a separate discussion. We could probably discuss it for an hour. But the point is that his comment around it was that he felt that there was inefficiency in the way that they were going about this whole thing. I, unfortunately, am way too smooth-brained to have caught what it was that was inefficient about it. But I find that interesting, because I found that even with competitors, if you ask the right question, they'll obviously like try and find a little bit of the hate in there because they're competing. But then if you listen carefully and you ask the right questions, you'll pick up immediately whether there's a little bit of envy or whether they feel that hold on a second, maybe I missed out on something here.
Right.
I didn't pick that up when I spoke to this dev. And I think that's really pertinent. I think maybe they've managed to get a whole lot of other things right, because it sounds like it from a tokenomics perspective. But from a VE perspective, I would ask the question once again, what is the efficiency of this thing in light of what other Solidity forks have done and its sustainability over time? So those are
Solidity
the
or
two things I'm
solidly,
looking
you
for.
mean?
I mean, solidly, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen so much VE stuff spring up,
Yes.
and I think it's a fun. It's just weird because the reason that vote escrow works for Curve is that Curve is still emitting its ownership tokens, and so directing liquidity is basically those with VECRV or who can direct VECRV can get more CRV allocated as yield for this or that pool. So
Yeah.
that's the gauge vote. It's all these different protocols. And what Curve's really good at doing is maintaining the peg of two tokens. So staked ETH to ETH, for instance, like, and that happens all the time in DeFi. And DeFi, a big component of it is maintaining a peg so that you can have some liquid version or a wrapper or whatever. And that's what makes Curve super valuable, is that all these DeFi protocols need it for the fundamental way they plan to have their protocol work. And I see a lot of people taking VE where none of those things are in place. Like, one thing that makes me skeptical about Lit is that Lit is doing the same thing, but for Uniswap v3, and Uniswap v3 is not used to maintain peg, and therefore it's not in high demand to have deep liquidity in a Uni v3, pool for a protocol. And they don't own they're not part of the Uniswap team. So it's like, like, it's very weird. And so I've seen a lot of like round peg in a square hole type of stuff with the VE narrative, where it's like, it works for Curve. I don't know if it works for other protocols just because they're not Curve,
Doesn't Aura also play into that? I mean, I don't know enough about it and Balancer, like a very similar kind of dynamic that's
very
going on
similar.
over there. Yeah.
And a lot of it is hidden hand, right? Like hidden hand,
Yes.
if it works out and creates this like third party bribe market that protocols actually want to use, then sure, like they're able to take this externality of the fact that they're not Curve and have the hidden hand bribe market be the missing piece that ties it all together. But I haven't seen it in action. It has not. None of these protocols have been nearly as successful as Curve. And I find a lot of DeFi, especially in the Aura Balancer hidden hand variant of this space, to be just like, it feels like Dollar Tree. It feels like this is never going to blow up. It's not sexy. It's way too complicated for anyone to care. And so I don't know. I'm just very skeptical of sort of the deep DeFi narratives right now.
Sure.
But I'm a Curve
Thoughts?
maxi myself, so.
So, I know that you are, and you've taught us a lot about the way that Curve works, and obviously the benefits of Curve over the long term, because that's a long-term play, right? But now, the biggest and most important narrative I think that's going to come to the fore, it could even come to the fore tomorrow, I don't know, but it's around stablecoins and the value that, or rather the mechanism, and therefore the value that we derive at from the process of creating stablecoins. Because if you look at Frax, for example, it's probably one of the most successful over collateralized stablecoins that we've got in DeFi. But the irony of it is that it's actually backed by USDC. And if we want to be completely at arm's length, if not barge pole length, from what the SEC is doing and what all these regulatory bodies are doing, and if we want DeFi to stand on its own, we need to have collateralized assets that fall outside the US dollar in terms of like USDC and Circle and USDT. And the question is, where are we going to find that? Are we going to find it in ETH? Are we going to find it in BTC? I mean, obviously we saw the way that Luna went about it was obviously the wrong way, but they tried BTC. How does it play out in terms of stable coins that are kind of like separate to the US dollar and, the Fed and the rest of it? Because in my opinion, we need to move away from that.
Yeah.
From a DeFi perspective. Sorry, it's a big question. I mean, it's kind of like, but it's your fault, Circa. You always do this. So.
But what do you think, Jew.bacca, about this topic?
Yeah, I'm not deep enough into, I don't know, into DeFi in order to have an opinion, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, Frax has been the most stable model for seigniorage by not being seigniorage because they're backed. They're 90% backed or 93. I think they were even interested in making it full backing and taking out the seigniorage portion of it. So the last seigniorage debacle we had for full seigniorage was Luna. So we know what the end of a seigniorage stablecoin is. What are the best performing stablecoins of all time? It's DAI, USDC, and USDT. Is that Curve's fault for DAI, or is it because Maker's just incredibly stable and they don't try to get fancy with it? MIM as well is definitely worth mentioning. But MIM is Maker, right? It's DAI. It's just a degen version of DAI, but it's the same principle. I think the less you know about how a stablecoin works, it's better for its performance. USDT, is the only one that hasn't, had real serious scares where like the OGs were worried. But USDC now has.
I have a theory from Frax's side, and that is that Sam Kazmanian has been speaking about Frax version 3, and I think one of the things that I think he wants to achieve with Frax version 3, I mean, I'm completely shooting from the hip here. If anyone knows in chat and can correct me, please do so. But I have a feeling that I think he wants to move away from the reliance on the US dollar as much as possible, as soon as possible, because he sees what's coming.
Yeah. I think that that's smart. I also think that, like, just as a user, right? How many of us have ever volitionally used Frax? How many times are you like, I can use any stable coin that I want. I'm going to pick Frax.
No, I don't. Honestly,
right.
I don't. Yeah.
Right. Nope. It's like the liquidity shallow everywhere. It doesn't have any unique properties that make it a better stable coin to use. I can't send it to exchanges as much as I can USDC or USDT. And I can't use it for capital efficiency as much. So, I only use Frax when I'm forced to. And I think that's a major hurdle for it being, it's a stable coin of last resort when DAI and USDT and USDC are unavailable.
So there is a bill at the moment in Senate which could land up forcing us to use Frax if Frax is no longer reliant on the US dollar, because they're coming. And
in which
good
case,
DeFi
my stable
is a
coin of
DeFi.
choice is MIM.
Yeah. Or MIM. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's funnier.
It's funnier. Listen, dude, Abracadabra has done really well. There's a great business model there. I think if the whole Danny and time thing didn't go down, it would be used a lot more, and it would be the darling in many ways.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how Canto does with Note over the next bull. Canto definitely was an outperformer in January and hasn't been since. Maybe it's showing itself as a potential leader in next bull, but again, it's another narrative, right? It's a reason to pump a coin. It's CRV USD, it's Dopex USD. I don't think I don't expect any of these to be more successful than the two daddies of the stable coin space.
Yeah, it just depends whether the US government decides to ban them and impose closures and the rest of it. Please bring up that time chart again so I can have some memories. Thank you.
Is this the full one? Oh my god, it is the full one. Holy shit, dude.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Man, I spotted a bullish butterfly harmonic here that got me out and back into this. And I'll never forget it because it's the only time I've ever successfully used a harmonic to plan a trade.
I mean, we were there, right? We were there at the cusp of this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I got in at 3K. So right around here.
I got in at 1,800, bro.
Ooh, printing, dude.
It was a very, very interesting time, this. was truly an this was one of the most incredible trades.
Gorgeous. Yep.
And then the rebases were just a thing of beauty.
Yeah. And
we're gonna see more of these, I think, on OP and ARB.
People keep trying to launch ohm forks still.
I don't mean more ohm forks.
Right.
I mean like the new ohm fork,
But yeah, on my alt Getty chart, time was a leader when I put it on there for some reason. Which
Why
is
is
weird.
this thing at 11,000 still at like 10?
Yeah.
So it's only a 10.7 market. What was it at its peak? $4.5 billion.
Something like that. It had
Yeah,
a
it was
$1 billion
$4.5 billion.
treasury.
It was just under 5. I remember.
Insane, dude.
Yeah, it was
so wild.
insane, dude.
Insane. Remember when they were like, we're gonna do festivals.
Potentially
that was when I
buy
knew.
a game
That was
studio.
when I knew. That was when I knew. That was the like a very strong top signal for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What a crazy time. And really kind of the same vibes that I got out of like seeing Pepe this last few days. It's like this should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up because it's over.
Yeah.
You know, this is the kind of stuff you should be looking out for. DFK was obvious,
Yeah.
So hopefully our antenna are getting better for spotting like where are we in the cycle based on what's happening around us.
Yeah.
So just to come to present time now, just from a kind of like a sobering perspective around where we are at the moment, I think, are we in agreement that we are obviously seeing a retrace from a bear rally, or do you think this is just a little bit of a correction and a dip and that needs to be bought so that we can look for another leg up?
I think this,
and then
okay, real serious. I'll just give my opinion and then Jew.bacca. I would not be the most shocked if we just made a higher low, shot up to 32 or even deviated, and then it was over. So I can't count that out, but I do think it's over.
Okay.
I do think it's over, and I think probably the coolest thing you can do with your time right now is just treat it like this. You just saw your bottom. Get involved. I scouted what I think is going to end up being generational for myself on render. Let me pull up render real quick. So I'm in this short right now.
Yeah, I followed you into render.
Hey, my dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was scouting previous highs from here. So we had these two highs, one in February and another in February, complacency. So I was just looking for us to deviate that last high and then get back inside. And sure enough, this morning came in, we got just a little bit above that. And I was like, that can't be it because there's like a weekly fair value gap in this box. Surely we're going to visit that, but no, I was okay to take it early. And it looks like if it doesn't scam up to here and fill in this inefficiency from literally a year ago, then I think it's going to go down to here. This, and then
definitely.
maybe even down here.
That could be. Are you compounding the short? I would assume you are at different levels, right?
I played it a little bit this morning. Yeah, definitely. Because like most of my entry was like between these two lines. And so I had to kind of get in and out in case we scam up to visit that. And then surely I'll like look at its interaction with this level, this box, this level. Yeah. But I'm trying not to overcomplicate it because if I do just take profit at 70 cents, it's really, really nice. And I think there's going to be more like this, I think the best thing, you can do with your time is to scout stuff like this. INJ, if we get a bounce and a complacency shoulder, like not missing that is huge because of just the upside. Let's treat it like a retest off of a bottom, right? Are we going to come back and retest this low or this low? If so, like, get involved because the upside is significant. Massive. So yeah.
Jew.bacca, thoughts on where we are at the moment?
Yeah, I mean,
But
I
but
I feel
hold
like
on,
we're
before
not.
you answer, before you answer,
Sure.
you're not allowed to look at it from an exit liquidity perspective. Try and contain that bias.
Um, I mean, I think there's too much liquidity, just in general markets, given, that, the Fed has basically backstopped banks. Um, I don't think it's going to be a straight down kind of year. I think,
Mm.
from here, I think there's going to be a lot of fuckery like that we've seen on this rally. I think we're kind of in store for more of that. It's going to be extremely difficult to trade, completely unpredictable. Um, I don't particularly think we see new highs, but we could, right? Out of nowhere. It's going to be one of those type of things.
Yeah.
So you are effectively sitting on the fence in many ways, but you are being very clear that this is really a landmine infested path ahead.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. I mean, I didn't really think of it in that way, and it's true. I mean, it really is. In many ways, it's also really like a case of uncharted territory around just the level of volatility where we are with just general markets, equities and all the rest of it. Because that, like, one moment we kind of like detached from what's going on, with the with SPX. I mean, we had it for like 2 weeks a little while ago,
Yeah.
right? We're like, and then all of a sudden it came back, and it was like, okay, well, now we're watching, the mini futures, and it's like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on here, guys? And then it's like, okay, wait, well, hold on a second, it's decorrelated, it's doing its own thing, and that is pure fuckery. I mean, how do you actually try and make sense of that? I mean, even the really good traders are like scratching their heads.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I think
Definitely.
we'll see some points of max fear, and I think we'll be able to see some great opportunities there, and just more about waiting for those moments.
For sure. Yeah. Just to point it out here, like, this is actually kind of funny. Imagine all the people who were like sell in May and go away at 9K in 2019. And then they were like, oh, I'm a genius. And then up to
Yeah.
14. But yeah, from the top of this bear market rally to the bottom before COVID crash, it was 175 days. This must have been the most boring shit in the world. I wasn't paying attention at the time. But I consider the possibility we could be in for that. Just slow, boring grind down with some, let's say you got in your short here and got scared here, oh,
Yeah.
it's like a few rippers that like make you question whether you should be in any long-term positions.
Yep.
And then of
There's a
course, maybe something like this, maybe something catastrophic or black swan right before, who knows?
There's a couple of really good traders that I've spoken to in the last few days who have this idea that we need, like, almost not we need, but they feel like there needs to be one more push up, like you said earlier on, to like 32, 31, 32, and then back down again for like an extended period of time. And then it would be like a slow grind down. And then it's a case of, and something that I didn't realize, because a lot of people don't like shorting, because like there's the whole idea that you can't really like maximize your gains like you can with longs. But guess what, guys?
Yeah,
You
it's
can
crazy.
compound this baby at
Yeah,
every
plus
level.
how many longs
Yeah.
have you held for a 2x on a major? Like none.
Yeah. Very, very few. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
get that opportunity unless you were in Solana and,
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
it. I mean, there's some sections in that chart that just, I look at them and my eyes just water at the possibility, like, and I think that's the thing about shorting as well, is that there's an art to it. And one of the art forms is, first of all, contain the fear. And secondly, be prepared to compound like you've never compounded in anything in your life before. So if
Yeah.
you're in for argument's sake, for $1 at the first level, then you go to $10, and then you go to $50, and then you go to $100,
Yeah.
close to the bottom. But because you've got that momentum, it doesn't matter. And you just really print properly. So
Yeah.
you can see I'm like this bear in the making, guys. Like, can you hear it?
Yeah, yeah. I do think that like it's a shit argument, the whole like, oh, you can only, blah blah blah, upside downside shorting. It's like, I mean, first of all, you're kind of coming to me with the position that you never short. So how would you know? Second of all, there's leverage, like, and there's compounding, like, and it's just like, if you see an opportunity in the market, like, are you going to not take it because of what you think could happen if the worst possible thing happens or the best possible thing, which like neither of those often ever happen. So I try not to use that to base my trades. I think the reason a lot of traders are thinking we should have gone higher is because they want to see these run. They want to see the rest of this range filled out.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, just go. You went this. I mean, you just showed a pattern. Just go back to where you were.
Yeah.
It really does look like we're about to do the same thing, doesn't it? It just looks so eerily similar. Like, wow. Like, go back to where we are now.
Yeah, we could. I mean, these types of
I don't know, just
flat/rounded tops
yes.
are like becoming like the new meta. Like ever since last cycle, the two tops that we had.
You do realize we're in full nerd mode now, dude. We are total nerds right now.
Yeah. Well, it's important.
Just a heads
right?
up, I have like 2 minutes and then I gotta,
okay.
I gotta bounce, but you guys can
It's
keep
all
going.
good, dude.
No, I think we're good. I think we should call it. It's been just over an hour. It's hour 20. I think it's good.
Well, RT never came through, so we couldn't pick on him for his China narrative never taking off.
But it did though, dude. It took off for literally 12 hours.
Yeah, that's true. So did all of our narratives, right? They were 12 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't get my $2 on Arbitrum either, so that sucked.
Yeah. Damn. Well, that's max cuck, right? That's what the market does.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Jedi, for coming on again. Let's have you on again very soon. And guys, if you're watching this and you're not in the pit, go to hxro.com, go to community, and join the Discord where we talk like this all the live long day, unhealthy amounts of time.
We are so deranged. Good
and
to be with you guys. You are my family. You are my brothers. I appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Hell yeah.
It was cool chat.
Love doing
we
this.
Almost went too far down the rabbit hole, boys. Thank goodness we didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a great chat. Good job, guys.
Cool.
Well, remember, guys, always play from a position of strength and get wrecked.
Take it easy.
All right. See ya.
Peace out, guys.
Cheers.